What is up, guys, and welcome into another episode of the Ain't It Funky podcast. My guest today is Dorothea Taylor, the one and only godmother of drumming. Dorothea went viral with her first TikTok video a few years ago, and this led to her videos with Drummio, going on Nick Cannon, Drew Barrymore, and Jimmy Fallon, and she has since grown her Instagram following to over 1 million followers. In our conversation, we spoke about Dorothea's insanely quick rise to fame, Dorothea's favorite resources for rudiments, including, of course, my favorite drum book of all time, Stick Control, Dorothea's advice for younger players, and more. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe wherever you're listening. The video version is available on YouTube as well. Thanks for tuning in, and enjoy. All right, Dorothea Taylor, welcome into the podcast.
Thank you.
Dorothea, I'm honored to have you on here because you are, of course, as everybody should know, you're the godmother of drumming. And of course, you've had quite the journey over the past couple of years online of going viral. I discovered you through the Down with the Sickness video from Drummio. And of course, you've been on Jimmy Fallon and other shows. And maybe talk a bit about like how that's been. I'm sure you've been asked this a lot, but talk about how that has kind of been from, I know you went viral with like the first video you posted, which was like a double stroke roll video, I think.
Yes. That was what took it to, craziness.
Yeah.
I was just doing it for fun. My grandson was experimenting with TikTok. I think he was only in like 7th grade then. He's a junior now. And TikTok was, coming about then also. And he said, Grandma, you should do a video. So I signed up for TikTok and I said, I don't know what to do. He said, just do anything. And I did a double stroke roll on a practice pad and just went berserk after that. That's amazing. Millions and millions. It has 41 million views now.
Crazy. And then did you start straight away posting like really consistently, or how did you did your grandchildren help you with setting all that up and filming, or did you figure that out yourself?
Well, he was young, so he told me what he knew, but he didn't know a whole lot either himself. And my husband didn't know anything, and I didn't really have any neighbors or anybody that did anything on TikTok, so it kind of was just me. And I don't know, when I first started, when I found out how many views it got within 2 days, I think it had 1 million. And so then I was like, okay, I'll put something else. And so, I had to come up with a few crazy things. And then that's when Drummio got a hold of me.
Okay. Because
they saw the same thing. And so Drummio are the ones who set me up with my sound here, because after I went there and did that Down with the Sickness and all, then I started teaching. During COVID, we taught, there were 5 or 6 of us drummers. We taught during the week. Mine was Tuesday afternoon, every Tuesday. And so I had to be live. And there would be, thousands and thousands of people because no one could go or do anything because of COVID. Mm-hmm. And so there were thousands of people online watching that 1 hour Zoom class.
Wow.
And so,
amazing.
Things were building from that time too.
Yeah. Amazing. And then how did you kind of get the call to do the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon? What were the other shows you did again on TV?
I did Nick Cannon. He had a show. It was like a talk show, but it was in the daytime. It was in the morning here on the East Coast. I don't know, other states what time it was. And so I got a call and I went, and I remember it still had something to do with COVID because I had to get COVID tested, and then I had to wear a mask into the studio, and then I could take it off. I'm like, oh shoot.
No worries.
I forgot forgot to. Sorry about that. So we went in, and I said, "Please, I don't have to see Nick Cannon. I can picture him coming out with a mask on too." They said, "No, you're good." So so that was early. So I did that one first. Pretty sure I did that one first. And then I got a call from Drew Barrymore, and that was strictly COVID. I couldn't go to the studio. I had to do it like a Zoom like this.
Right.
And we played like a game. To tell the truth, there were like 3 of us, and there was a story like somebody played such and such an instrument, and then the guests. But I don't know what kind of guests there was, because we were online, but they were guessing, and they didn't think that I would be playing the drums. And then there was like an oboe player, so I think they were most people were suggesting that I was the oboe player and the guy was the drummer and stuff. So that was kind of fun. It was just online, and then I did. That's when things opened up, and I could go to the Jimmy Fallon show.
So amazing. Yeah.
And then I went to Jennifer Hudson. Like,
wow. Yeah.
not this past March, but a year ago, March. So that was 4 talk shows I got to go to just because of that double stroke video that started the whole thing.
Crazy. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's amazing the power of social media and how, it can just overnight change your life.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, obviously I know you came from a background of when you were young, you were in the bugle corps.
Drum and bugle corps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Called DCI now, Drum Corps International. It wasn't named that yet. It was the same type thing. It had the same famous drum corps, the Blue Stars and Cavaliers and things like that, just like they do now. But it was just called Drum Corps. Drum Corps competitions, I guess.
Yeah.
So it was a long time ago when I was in it, because I marched from summer of '64 to right into summer of 1970, and then I got married, and so I couldn't finish out the season.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That's where I got all my training. Well, not all my training, because we didn't have an instructor, so we were limited to basic rudiments. But then I've always just kept it up, just keeping up with the times, through television, through watching other drum corps, through asking questions, and meeting some people that used to march, DCI, and showing me the new cheese, all the new hybrid rudiments and things like that. So I've just kept up with it.
Yeah. It's. I mean, your technique, your hands. Obviously, you can see that it's just been like a lifelong journey of so much about all the rudiments and the hybrids and yeah. And so what would you say has been your if you'd have to pick maybe a resource like a book, or whether it be, I don't know, Wilcox and stick control, what would you say has been like the most valuable resource in terms of rudiments in your lifetime?
Well, back then we didn't really see books. It wasn't the thing to have the rudiment books. We just kind of, the drum corps that I was in, just like the guy that was the oldest, just kind of passed down that info. And then when, oh gosh, that was, early in the 60s up till 70. And then I'm trying to think, maybe later in the 80s is when I started paying attention to, the drum lines and the newer rudiments and things that were coming out. So, let's see. I don't know if I have my books up here. Oh, shoot. Let me see if they're on this stand here. Here's a good one right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my other one is downstairs, but this is the rudimental reference book. Is it backwards? I can't tell.
No,
The
I
drummers.
can read that.
Okay, the drummer's rudimental reference book, and it's by John Wooten, and he's a well-known percussionist drummer. And then the other one, oh my gosh, it's called The Next Level by a DCI instructor. Oh my gosh, my mind is blank. But the book's called The Next Level, and it's full of rudiments, and it has the hybrids in it. With Wooten's book, because this came out, a long time ago. This was copyrighted in 92. So there's a lot more hybrid rudiments since then. Whether he has another book, I'm not really sure. But like Roll-Off Production, the Rudimental Cookbook, I have that book as well. And that was by Edward Freitag. So that's a really good one. It's just mentioning on the back here. But the Rudimental Reference Book has a lot of warm-ups, a lot of just drumline stuff. It's a great book.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've never heard of these books. You're gonna make me go out and spend more money, Dorothea, because I'm always buying rudiment books.
Yeah. Well, this is a great one. It's from Roll-Off Productions.
Okay.
Foremost in marching and concert percussion literature. And then The Next Level. His name might come to me in a second.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it must be downstairs. Because I teach and I do things from my kitchen counter, like my videos. And so that book might be down there and all my stuff.
Right. So you teach out of those books usually, or?
And the most important for total beginners is George Stone Stick Control.
Yeah, my favorite drum book of all time.
Yeah, that's like learning your ABCs. Really, you need that book before you start these others. Because I'm thinking, like this rudimental remedies book, you really have to know the stickings and the rudiments and then get this book and just, take off from there. But the stickings from George Stone, it doesn't tell you what the rudiments are. Line 5 is a paradiddle, but it's just telling you right, left, left, left. So I use that in combination with like the 40 PASIC rudiment charts, because those give you the rudiment name and it gives you the accents. So like I always talk about, say you're doing George Stone, line 5, right, left, left for a total beginner. But then if you have your rudiment sheet, you'll see that it's right, left, left. So putting that in your muscle memory at the very beginning stages of your drumming helps, because if you're in the habit of playing all of these as big rebound strokes, you're not used to bringing those accents down. And I always say, when you say the word paradiddle, you're hearing paradiddle. And that's what you want it to sound like. So it's a combination, like I said, but the George Stone's book is great. It has your doubles in there. You start putting your flams, all your flam accents, and then all the different combinations of different stickings. So, get the George Stone book. And an instructor to help you if you have any questions about how to use the Stone book, because it's written in cut time, but it's written as students look at it, it looks like all eighth notes. But in cut time, you'd have to use those as 16th notes. So your goal is not to play at that speed. I have a lot of students, if they can play this and they think they have it, at that speed. But if you start adding the sixteenths and the accents and bumping your metronome up each week and each month, then you've turned that easy right, left, right, right, left, right, right into something. You're not done at this speed to move on because you really haven't done anything. You haven't worked yourself.
Yeah. And what's been I mean, you said you've used it in combination with the PASIC 40 rudiments chart. But what's sort of been, I don't know, some utilizations that you could talk about with stick control in particular? Maybe if, just taking, maybe taking any page and a creative utilization that comes to mind, a smart utilization. Because I usually like looking at just page 5 and finding all different ways that I can creatively utilize that. So for you, what have been things that come to mind?
Well, thinking drumline wise, when you get into the second column, do I have that book up here? Gosh, I should have been more prepared as far as books. I do have the chart for the International Drum Rudiments, Percussive Art Society Rudiments. That, I like to get the ones that are like a poster for students, but this one, this sheet right here gives you all kinds of different lessons and statements from, like, Mick Fleetwood has a statement on this about the importance of your rudiments. So let's see, I think I have so I have George Stone and page 5. So if you go to the second column, it is number 16. So, say the student sees number 16, which is right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, left. They're not seeing it as what it is, triple paradiddle. So once you add that tempo and an accent, paradiddle, paradiddle, or you can accent paradiddle, paradiddle. So you can put it on the kit too. Add your bass drum and your hi-hat, boom chick, boom chick. You can separate your hands, put it around your kit. So then it goes into, it starts with the inversions of paradiddles, but the line 14 is singles and doubles. And everything that a drummer plays is singles and doubles. Everything that we play. So it's a combination of singles, doubles, singles, doubles. And what I stress is to work these up because they're boring. If people say it's boring, yeah, that would be boring. Don't let that be your end point. Strive daily by spending more than 5, 10, 15 minutes. You have to practice, just like anything, any sport, motorcycle riding, dirt bike riding. Anything takes practice. And if you want to be a really good drummer, then you have to devote that, special time every day. And even if you're not sitting with sticks and a pad, you can still practice in your mind, even in the air. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right. Yeah, that's what it is. So it's making it sink into your muscle memory.
Right.
You're on the steering wheel in your car at a stoplight. Paradiddle, paradiddle. And you can build speed up just with your hand and body parts, So just page 5 which is the first, it's not the fifth page, it is the first page that has the notes written on it. If you get this thing down, you are ready to go to any of the other pages. Yeah, you can't go from 5 to the next pages because they're similar in the sticking wise, different combinations of stickings, and you wouldn't even think that there would be that many different combinations. But page after page are different combinations. And I love where the line 5 is just a regular paradiddle, but then you get into the inverted paradiddles, the inversions. So I always say you put the diddle in the middle, right, left, left, right, instead of right, left, right, right. So paradiddle, paradiddle, You're moving that diddle around. I don't know what it'll sound like if I do it here. I don't know if the...
You can try.
I can try, yeah. Like, if you do the inversions, I'll try not to play too loud. So I'm going to do the inversion, like right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left. And have fun with it. That's just an inverted paradiddle.
Yeah.
And there's a couple more, 7 and 8. Those are inversions, different inversions too. So like I said, page 5, and you agree, page 5 is like learning your ABCs. If you don't know your ABCs, you're not going to be able to read or sound out words.
Yeah. And another great resource for the paradiddle, the inverted or the inversions of the paradiddle with the grooves, is of course Future Sounds by David Garibaldi.
Yes, I have that book as well. Yep.
Another amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I love doing those.
Yeah.
Just keeping the 4 on the floor bass drum under it.
Yep.
And just checking out the different inversions, like it's so magical for.
Yeah, he came and did a clinic, in our store back in the day, and he started playing. I didn't really know a whole lot about him at that time. He started playing, and I was like, "Those are paradiddles." I could tell right away, and I mean, he can make those things groove.
So good.
Yeah. So that's a good book too, but you can't get that book until you've really worked.
True.
George Stone. Yeah.
Yeah. True. Yeah, no, stick control. It's people look at me crazy because of how much I'm obsessed with stick control. And when I go on tour and stuff, it's like the one book that I religiously take with me everywhere. Or
it's good warm-ups.
Yeah,
yep.
For sure.
Because then when you get into your flam pages, and then I mean, there's even pages in there where you put 5s, 6s, 7s.
Right. Yeah. 10 strokes. Yeah.
10 strokes in what you were playing, and something smaller fit in, and now you have 10. It's like, oh, is that going to fit? But you through working this book, you realize what you have to do and realize it.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you I guess you learn different subdivisions even without realizing you're putting in 5s. Then also I think it's a good way to practice going from like maybe doing a bar or two of because obviously you have the eighth notes and then the 5 and then doing like the eighth notes and then 10. So obviously technically you're just doubling the 5.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like switching between those. You're checking out different.
But it ends up by being an 11-stroke roll as well, So there's just so much info for the beginner drummer to realize when they get farther. They could get bored in the first page because they're not realizing how important that first page is to get into the really fun things into the book.
Yeah.
So he knew what he was doing when he wrote that book.
He's a genius, yeah.
It wasn't it like, 1938 or something? The original or something like that?
Yeah.
I have one of the really old books too.
When did you get your copy, or when did you discover stick control?
Not that long ago compared to how many years I've been playing. I don't even know if it's been as far as 20 years. Really.
Okay.
Yeah. I just wasn't familiar with it.
Yeah.
I just played drums. I didn't really have that many books to, play along with. And then when I discovered stick control, I had been teaching similar things, very similar things, but I didn't know it was in a book. So the way this book is laid out, it's clear where mine was just, okay, do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and a little bit of this, where this is like a form.
Yeah. I think when I first discovered stick control, it was kind of a thing that changed my life quite literally. Because I think before that, maybe I'd sort of known the one classic inversion, the one classic paradiddle.
Yes.
And maybe I knew singles, doubles, and a paradiddle, but I didn't really know them that well or couldn't play them that cleanly yet. And then at some point, a drum teacher just gave me that and a practice pad.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I didn't get into it for a while because I was quite young and I was a bit lazy and I was a bit like, this is a bit boring.
Yeah.
It's just a page of notes. But once I was like, you know what, I'm going to commit to this, and I actually committed to doing it every day, I realized within a couple of weeks, a month, 2 months, I was like, wow, this is actually, my hands changed so much. And other drummers were coming to me at gigs being like, wow, how did you, your technique is so smooth. How did you get that? And I'm like,
oh, good.
Literally this book, Stick Control, is like a game changer.
Huh?
And
yeah, every drummer needs this book. Every drummer to be needs this book, because there are a lot. I mean, if you're out playing, you realize there are a lot of drummers that know nothing except basic. They don't know what to do, and their fills are all just singles. They don't know all the possibilities that are out there for them, because they've never heard of it. They've never bothered to study, never bothered to find out. Especially, those that never played in school marching bands or anything like that. They don't have any rudiments under their belt. So they're so limited. They're like living in a box where you get the George Stone and it opens it wide.
For sure, yeah. And especially once you started playing it around the kit, as you said, with accents or moving different hands to different instruments, orchestrating stuff, you suddenly start relating, especially with the flams, for instance. When I started moving those flams between toms and snare, I was like, wow, you can make all these like you talk about the Swiss Army triplet, stuff like that. You suddenly start getting these combinations of, kind of Gavin Harrison style stuff.
They don't even sound like the rudiment. Like if you're doing Swiss triplets, especially, you're like on the bell of the cymbal or whatever. It doesn't sound like that rudiment. But those that don't play rudiments, they have no idea what that drummer is doing. No idea. Where us, who are familiar with it, could pick up, oh, that's cool. I know what he's doing. I'm watching the stickings, the flam, tap, tap, flam, tap, tap. Because we know, we just know because we've done our homework.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And so do you still, you were talking about, constantly practicing every day. Do you still get to practice every single day?
Well, I have a pad down there. We have some bar stools, and the one that's in the corner against the wall, I have a couple of pads and a few different size sticks. So I'm downstairs, and I go through the kitchen. And if I'm not having to do anything in particular, I get that pad. I was doing it. I was watching something on TV, but I had my pad and was just warming up, I guess.
Right.
I was doing, trying to get a clean triple stroke roll. So I find myself picking up the sticks maybe even several times a day if I'm downstairs and even bored or whatever. Yeah, so I try. I don't even know if I'm calling it practice. I'm just trying to keep my hands up because, I'm old and things don't move as easily as, somebody younger. So I have to, stretch them. And, I was going like this downstairs, just stretching all of my limbs and everything just to warm up a little. Mm. And what always has bothered me especially when I was teaching younger kids, they said I said, well, how much practice did you get in since I last saw you last week? Well, on Wednesday, I practiced 20 minutes. And then they come back to the lesson and they're not any better than they were, the previous week or the week before that or the week before that. So people that are taking lessons, wanting to be a drummer, you have to spend the time. Yeah. If you got a skateboard for Christmas and you had never been on one before and you want to start learning some tricks, those little kids are on the skateboard as soon as they get off that bus. And they might be called in to eat dinner and they're back outside and they do it all summer long. And that's how they get good. And the same thing with anything that you want to be good at. Guitar, drumming, whatever, piano. You can't do that in 15 minutes one day a week.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also more rewarding if the more you put in time, and even if it's just little chunks every day, even just 10, 15 minutes a day.
Yes,
is going to give you more reward. Yeah. Than, as you say, just 20 minutes one day.
The next day, you are like, oh, okay, yeah, I have this even better than yesterday. Yeah. And if you keep it fresh in your mind, if it's something that you were working on as coordination on the kit or whatever, just keeping it in your mind. You're not behind your pad or sticks in your hand, but you're still thinking about it. And all of that adds up.
For sure. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And so did you have, speaking about practice, did you have a phase in your life where you, like drummers talk about practicing for 8 to 10 hours, and maybe, talk about the phases in your life where you put in like lots of practice?
Well, I did, for those 6 years that I was in drum corps. And even in the wintertime, with the snow and everything, we practiced twice a week. And so those were 3-hour practices in the evenings, twice a week. I think it was like Monday and Thursday. And that was just to keep up our chops. And, the trumpets or the horn line was learning new music for the upcoming season and doing scales and exercises and things. So summertime would come, or spring or whatever, when we could get out when there wasn't snow. Because this was in Upper Michigan, right on Lake Superior, where there's a lot of snow. And so when we finally could get out, then those Saturdays before school got out, those were intense practices. And then when school got out, before our competitions started, before we got on the buses and, headed out, we would practice at least 8 hours a day. We'd have like sectionals in the morning and then something in the afternoon, whether it was sectionals or if it was just marching, and then go home for dinner and then come back and practice until 9:30 at night, because it didn't get dark until like 10 o'clock there. And so it added up. And we did that when we were on the road, on the way, us drummers would be talking and singing our parts.
Right.
And it just kept it fresh in your mind. And then when we got to our destination, we would be, in the lot kind of videos. We would be practicing in the lot somewhere. I mean, hours and hours. And that's what it takes. That's what it takes.
For sure, for sure. And so did you do any other jobs in your lifetime, or did you always make a living off playing drums?
No, I've never really made a living from playing drums. Luckily, I have a husband who he was the worker. I just played and made like extra fun money because I started having children. So my money went towards, buying them clothes and things like that. Just within the local bands here in town and all. I did go out on the road a little bit with an Elvis impersonator But that was
Amazing.
after my kids were grown. That was not even that long ago, maybe, I don't know, 15 years ago or something. But that was the only time
Right.
that I ever went out of town to play music.
Yeah.
Everything else has just been local bands. And then I was in the symphony orchestra for 10 years, but we practiced once a week and only had maybe 4 concerts for the whole year. Because, I was raising 3 children. And
Yeah.
then I did theater, local theater. So I was the drummer in the pit while my last child was growing up. And so, but when I was pregnant with my first, I was in the band playing 5 nights a week, right up until I was like 2 or 3 weeks before the birth. And then I had another child 3 years later, and I was in another band, and we played 5 nights a week as long as I could, because it was in the same spot. So it wasn't like I had to pick up drums, and what a pain that is to pack them in your cases and then lug them to your car. I didn't have to do that because we were played at the same place. So I
Right.
didn't have to
Okay.
move anything. So that helped.
Yeah.
And then I started teaching drum lines in 1986 because my son was a freshman at the high school and he was on saxophone, and I saw how bad the drum line was. So I went and asked the band director. I said, "Do you need a drum instructor?" Because it was just the band director and he wasn't a drummer. And that happens a lot. You see a marching band that's really, really good. Well, it was somebody from corps that played in corps and then went to college and became a teacher, and they might be on horn, but then they know enough to hire somebody to come in and be the drum instructor. We didn't have that here, and so I started instructing that drum line and stayed there for 10 years. And then a couple of my former students, then they kind of took over for me. And one of my youngest student has now started working with that same band. But people found out about me in the whole county, and so I've spent time doing clinics at different high schools and middle schools, getting people psyched up about drumming and how important it is to practice, to have a good drum line for good scores and things like that. So there's a lot of different schools in our county, and so I've been to probably every single one of them. So that's the
Amazing.
kind of stuff. And then, like I said, during COVID, I started teaching private lessons along with the Drummio thing every Tuesday. I picked up several. I probably had, I don't know, close to 15 students during the week, which was plenty for me. And that was all during COVID for probably a good 2.5, 3 years, really, doing that just online on Zooms.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. And so with clinics, how would you kind of structure a clinic? I'm curious.
Well, uh, I did clinics, online, and so whoever set up the Zoom would have X amount of people in the Zoom at one time, and then me just explaining and just teaching online just like this. And then I've done a couple of just kind of local clinics at I did one at someone's church just because of the venue. It was large. We advertised. But then I just got back from Nashville 2 weeks ago. I was asked to do a clinic at Forks Drum Closet, which is a big drum store, not big, but very well known and very well stocked in Nashville with all the Nashville musicians. And so I went there and did a clinic in person. Had a blast, and everybody loved it. And
Amazing. Yeah. And so I guess it's do you play songs and kind of teach rudimental stuff, or
yeah, I
what?
don't,
How do you go about
as
it?
far as songs along with music, no, I've never had the correct setup where I could do that. I've explained songs and like the shuffles, Purdy Shuffle and Rosanna and that kind of stuff, and showed what the drum parts were, but as far as playing along, we've just never had the music set up. But I always start out with basics and explain why I'm talking about a paradiddle, because when I start separating it and putting it around the kit, I'm teaching the importance of rudiments. And just like you said, you can add, like, one of my favorite things is a drag paradiddle on the bell of the cymbal. And then you can go around and then come back to your shuffle. Those were all drag paradiddles. And just
I'm going to start using that.
Explaining how fun adding that, and like rhythmicues can be fun, like a rhythmicue in a groove. You just throw it in there, little ghost notes. I mean, how fun is that?
Amazing, yeah.
But if you don't know what a rhythmicue is, you can't do that. You can't use that kind of stuff. So I'm always throwing. And it's not like I'm playing and saying, okay, no, I'm going to put a rhythmicue in there. It just, because it's in here, just like when you speak, you don't think about every single word that's going to come out of your mouth. It just comes out because it's in your muscle memory. So those rhythmicues just come out, and I'm not thinking about it. It's just there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It sounds so spicy when you're like moving the rudiments around the kit, and it's like a really, and I guess with your knowledge, with your extensive knowledge of the rudiments, it's really like interesting creatively the stuff to see you kind of talk about and play the stuff, the utilizations that you come up with different rudiments.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Just so fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming to your social media, it's I think you said at the beginning that you figured out yourself all the how it all works and stuff. Like your grandchildren don't kind of help you in any way.
No, because I have a 2-year-old. No, he's not even 2. Grandson and a 4-year-old granddaughter, and then I have one who's 17 that actually lives here, but he doesn't really know anything. I know more about putting stuff together on all my system, my board, and everything like that. So he wasn't really all that much help. I think possibly going into the music store, our local music store, and seeing if there was anyone there that could answer any of my questions. And I still do. Like, I went the other day because I was having like a buzz in one of my cables, and I took a picture of my board so I could show it, because I don't have anybody that knows. All of my people that I know, well, especially relatives, they're all old. They don't even have social media. And then, other neighbors, they don't have TikTok. They don't get on Instagram. They don't post anything. So a lot of times it'll just be maybe like talking to you. If you DM'd me and said, I like your work, I'm a such and such, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, oh, I'm going to ask him, so I'll just send a message. So that's kind of what I've had to do. And even at the very beginning, I would contact Drummio, though. And because they set me up with the cameras, there's an overhead here. They set me up with the overhead mics just to get it in this board, in this system, so that when I was teaching, it wouldn't be really loud or distorted kind of thing. So I've had help along the way, but it's none of my neighbors or relatives.
Amazing. Yeah, but I mean, I guess how often do you post? Would you say you post every day?
I try to. I might skip a day or something, but like today, after this, I I might do just a quick something on the kit because I saw somebody posted something and I was like, oh, that's a really good, cool rhythm. So I pushed save. So I'm going to go back to it and get the groove again and then just play it just, behind this kit and, just to have something to post so that you don't want to be off board, because people notice that too. If they don't see you for a while, it works better if you post a lot.
True. And do you tend to write down ideas when they come to you, or do you have to find yourself having to kind of, I don't know, search for ideas at all creatively, or does it just kind of naturally come to you?
Well,
frequently?
I don't know if it comes naturally, but I take my phone and go into the notes section and put, like if I'm in the car and I have like classic rock on and a good song comes up, I know I'm going to forget what it is. So I'll just say, hey, Siri, say what I need to put in there. And then when I get home, I look it back up. I'm like, oh, yeah. Because we've been doing this podcast called, well, it's not a podcast, it's a show. Siri's asking me something. It heard me on my iPad. What was I saying? I've already forgot.
You were doing the show. I think you were talking about in the
pocket.
Oh,
yes, in the pocket.
Is that the one?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have to come up with different ideas and different, inviting different guests on weekly. And so, I'll think of somebody or see somebody on Instagram scrolling or somebody on TikTok that would be a good fit for our show. And so I put that in my notes too so that I don't forget.
Right.
So,
and do you I don't know, is it kind of when you are practicing certain rudiments, certain combinations, are you usually try to be creative with what you're doing to kind of find new ideas and new ways to play stuff?
When I do come up here, I'll try to formulate different patterns instead of staying in the same kind of thing. That's why I have so many different books, just to try to get new ideas as well.
Right.
Because I have some books on like linear patterns, and one is called just drum fills, basic rock, classic rock grooves and stuff like that. So I'm always scrolling through the books. If I get a blank, thinking, oh, what am I going to do? I can't think of a thing. Then I'll just get one of my books out and come up with something.
Right. Who's your favorite drummer of all time, Dorothea? I'm curious.
I have to say Buddy Rich.
Yeah? Okay.
Because that's who I started seeing when I was very young. I would see him on different television shows, the old shows back in the day. And then there was another jazz drummer. His name was Louis Belson. And then Gene Krupa. So those were all old guys, but that's who I noticed. And then probably by 1968, when I was a senior, I think that's when Karen Carpenter came along.
Amazing, yeah.
She and her brother called it Carpenters. And she was a drummer. I couldn't believe it. And so she was on different, like the Ed Sullivan Show. You wouldn't even know what those shows are, but, Johnny Carson and things like that. And Buddy Rich was always on Johnny Carson. My mom and dad would be up late, and they'd come up and wake me up, say, Buddy's going to be on, and I'd run downstairs and watch him and then go back to bed and have to get up early the next morning. But they didn't let me miss any time that Buddy was on, because he was just, his left hand and the speed, and it was just totally amazing. So people send me like almost daily on DMs, just different videos of Buddy Rich. And I've seen them all, but I watch every one of them again because he was just so amazing. So I loved him so much. And then I got married in 1970 and left Michigan. And about a month later, I found out he was coming to that college in my hometown. I could not believe it.
Wow, no
I
way.
missed him.
Oh
All those years
no.
of loving him, and I couldn't even see it because I had moved.
Wow, okay. Yeah.
So that's how
Uh,
long that I've loved Buddy Rich. But now there's so many good drummers out there now. And I fell in love with Vinnie Colaiuta. He's just a
oh.
killer drummer. And
Mm.
then Benny Greb came on the scene, and he's totally different. His grooves and feel, and just the way he has his drums set up, even. I just love him to death. And I mean, Steve Smith he was in Journey, right?
From Journey,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love Journey, but I didn't know who Steve Smith was at the time. I just loved the band. I'm just trying to think of some off the top of my head. There's just so many that I love. Jeff Hamilton is a really great jazz drummer. I've been following him for a good while. I have a list, even back here in one of my books, of all the drummers that I love, because people ask me all the time, who are yours? And
Well, my
I have to say
favorite
Bonham too.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
Bonham is yeah, he's also one of my favorites. I'd say my number one favorite is Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Of
Okay.
course. He's like also changed my life. He taught me to play ghost notes on the drums.
Oh, cool. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
and
very good.
Yeah, Taylor Hawkins from the Foo Fighters, obviously Dave Grohl, of course,
Yep.
as well.
Yep.
Trying to think, Ian Pace from Deep Purple is another
Oh,
one
yeah,
that's
yeah,
just incredible.
yeah.
Unbelievable technique. Yeah, of course, I'm blanking now on
How
all the
about
names.
how about Tools, Danny Carey?
Oh, he's incredible. I never got into Tool's music personally, but obviously Danny Carey's
I
he's
know,
incredible.
he's just
Yeah,
so good. Yeah.
amazing drummer.
There's amazing drummers out there. And now
Yeah.
the new Rush drummer, Annika.
Oh, Annika, yeah, she's so good.
She's so good.
Unbelievable.
And then there's another girl that I'm following. I'm calling her a girl because I'm old and she's not. Kristen Neddens.
Yes, yeah.
She's
love her.
amazing too.
She's amazing.
I
yeah.
like all her stuff, and then she'll message me back. Thank you so much, Dorothea. Yeah, she's really
she's a lovely human being. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's been on the podcast as well. She's
Has she?
really,
Yeah,
really
she's
lovely.
so good,
human
and
being.
her footwork. Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous.
Oh yeah.
That foot, she's got it.
I've used more than a couple of her foot workouts, and I love her. I've got her book, The Creative Flow.
I
book.
do too.
That's
It's
awesome.
downstairs. I was.
The hand stuff is great.
Yeah. And there's a lot of fundamentals in the book, just the stuff that I've been preaching, for umpteen years. Yeah.
For sure.
Because it's not different. There is one way to learn how to play the drums, the correct way. And so she starts you off with that. And it's very similar to stick control.
Yeah, absolutely. And flams and, paradiddles and even diddles in like 3 and
I know. Yeah. Then she gets into the deep stuff.
5s
Yes.
and stuff. And yeah. Some really, really cool stuff.
Really
for
good
sure.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's amazing. Her pocket and her flow around the drums is just impeccable. And like the tastefulness with which she, her phrasing on the drums is like
Yes, I know.
beautiful. Yeah. So
I
good.
didn't know that she'd been on your podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. I also got to see and meet her briefly at the UK drum show last year. That was amazing as
Oh
well.
man, that'd be nice.
So many great drummers. Have you not been to the UK drum show?
No. I've never even been to NAMM. I've been to PASIC twice, and that's about it.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Did you give a clinic there, or were you just there?
I was just there. Because I was there with Tamburo Drums.
Okay.
So I was in their booth because I'm endorsed by them, or I endorse their product, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Tamburo Drums from Italy.
Right.
So I was there for that. But then I got to, walk around and just do my thing as well.
Yeah.
Had a blast.
Do you get recognized quite a lot out in public? I mean, obviously in the drum and music space, probably, but in
No,
public, do
just
people come
over
up to
there
you
at
or?
our local Food Lion or Walmart,
Hmm.
Target, wherever I go. Oh, I went to the eye doctor, and I was going to have a cataract surgery, and they were freaking out over something. I didn't know. I thought something weird happened there, in the office, and they were all whispering. They didn't know that I could hear up behind the wall, and they were talking about me. So before I left, we had to do selfies with all the ladies back there and the doctor.
Oh, amazing.
So yeah, so it happens every day, really. I don't have to
Amazing.
go very far.
Yeah. So
So
people literally just come up to you all the time and are like, "Oh my God, you're the godmother of drumming."
uh-huh. They'll be walking by and
Oh.
they go, but I
Oh,
love it.
amazing.
I mean,
I bet, yeah.
you don't really get the chance to do that in your lifetime, being recognized. And so it's fun. I
Hmm.
talk to them for a second and get my picture made with them. And then a lot of them will post it on and tag me
Hmm.
on their page. So yeah,
Oh, amazing.
I mean, when I was 17, when I was going into my senior year, I knew I didn't want to go to college because I didn't want to take history or math or government or any of that stuff. If I went, I would have wanted to just do music. But the college wasn't really known for a big music program. And I don't know, I got in a band right away. But my dream was to go to California where my cousin lived. He lived in Anaheim, right close to Disneyland, and see if I could get in a band and become a famous drummer. That was my dream.
Hmm.
And then I got in a band playing 5 nights a week, after the summer after I graduated, after I finished the drum corps thing. And then met my husband and got married the next summer when I was 19. And then I started having babies at 21. Well, that all went out the window. And so now, with this being in my 70s and all this is happening, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like a dream come true.
I
I
bet.
never dreamed that would happen as an old person.
Oh, that's amazing. So good. Yeah. Yeah. But so, just one last, we're sort of coming to the end here, but one last would you have one last piece of advice for, leaving for maybe for like younger up and coming players, or, maybe for people who want to get bigger on social media, or, maybe just younger drummers in general? What would your kind of last tidbit of advice kind of be?
Well, I always say, try to be the best that you can be. As like one of my quotes, be the best that you can be. But for people that are just starting out, be sure that you work on correct technique. Maybe get some instruction, or, do YouTube or do Drummio to get the correct positioning of your hands. If you have bad habits, I've seen people play like this on their snare drum with this kind of a grip for a backbeat. Well, in the long run, that's going to damage your hand. It's not going to get you around the kit. You won't be able to play rudiments like this. It has to be correct wrist, arm, finger technique, all that. So starting out correct, and because if you start out bad, that muscle memory kicks in and it is hard to correct. So if you're at the very, very beginning stages of being a drummer, start out with correct technique and then start learning rudiments. If you don't want to learn cheeses, at first, you don't have to, but you have to perfect your singles and doubles and bring those in from quarter notes to eighth notes to sixteenths to 32nds, because you're going to want that speed as a 32nd, even a 64th note, when these guys get really fast. learn your singles and doubles. And if you have these inside out, then your paradiddles is just 2 singles and 1 double. It's easy. It all falls into place. So starting out the correct way, and then just from there, enjoy every minute of it. Don't say, oh, this is boring. Put on a click or put on a favorite easy song, not like a head banging song or anything, just to stay with it, do 8 on a hand, to the beat. And you're using your correct technique, and then double that speed. Things like that. If you have to have something to play along to, so that you're not bored. But just do it. It doesn't have to be the drum part that you're hearing, just using that click of whatever the tempo of that song is. And it just makes your practice more pleasurable.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dorothea. And I appreciate so much you taking the time. I'm honored that you've come on my podcast, the one and only Godmother of Drumming. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For the conversation.
My pleasure.
Lovely talking to you, Dorothea.
Thank you.
Give me money.